When Andy Griffith passed away on the morning of July 3, 2012, the news shocked millions across America. For decades, he had been a familiar face in living rooms everywhere. The kind, wise sheriff of Mayberry, the gentle lawyer of Matlock, a man who seemed to embody small-town decency and old-fashioned goodness. But what stunned people even more than his death was what happened next. Within just a few short hours, Andy Griffith was already buried. There were no public vigils, no cameras, no grand funeral service, and no long goodbyes. The world barely had time to process the loss before he was gone, laid to rest in the quiet soil of Roanoke Island, North Carolina, the same place he had called home for most of his later life. This decision wasn't made suddenly or by someone else. It was Andy's own choice. In the years before his passing, he had made it crystal clear how he wanted his final moments handled. He had seen what fame could do, how it could turn even death into a spectacle. He had watched other stars' funerals turn into crowded media events, with helicopters buzzing overhead and reporters turning grief into headlines. Andy wanted none of that. He wanted to be remembered for his work, not for a public display of mourning. To him, privacy was peace. So he planned everything in advance. A small group of people he trusted, a simple wooden casket, and a private ceremony held quietly on his own land, away from curious eyes. By the time most of the world even heard that Andy Griffith had died, the man himself was already resting beneath the shade of Carolina trees. The decision to bury him just 4 hours after his death wasn't rushed. It was carefully, lovingly arranged. His family and close friends followed his wishes to the letter. They made sure there would be no media trucks, no paparazzi, and no public interference. The local community helped honor those wishes by keeping things discreet. Even the authorities cooperated to ensure his final farewell stayed peaceful and untouched by the chaos that fame often brings. Those who knew him best said it was exactly the kind of goodbye he would have wanted. Andy had always been a private soul. Despite his decades in Hollywood, fame never truly changed him. He stayed humble, rooted in his North Carolina upbringing, preferring simple joys over glamorous parties. In his heart, he was still that small-town boy who loved music, laughter, and quiet evenings more than red carpets and flashing lights. When he left this world, he wanted to do it the same way he had lived, quietly, respectfully, and without fuss. There's something poetic about the speed and simplicity of his burial. It reflected the very values he stood for on The Andy Griffith Show: honesty, humility, and dignity. While television turned him into an icon, his final act reminded everyone that beneath the fame was a deeply human man who valued peace over attention. Some found it surprising, even unsettling, that a legend of his stature would disappear so quickly. But to those who truly understood Andy Griffith, it made perfect sense. His resting place remains private, surrounded by the land he loved. There are no massive headstones or memorial statues, just quiet grass, soft breezes, and the sound of birds. It's a fitting farewell for a man who never sought the spotlight, even when it was always shining on him. In a world obsessed with fame and spectacle, Andy's quiet, almost secret burial was a final reminder of what mattered most to him: simplicity, peace, and a life and death lived with quiet grace.